What's happening, guys? Welcome into this a boxing prediction and breakdown video where we're going to give our opinions on this weekend's highly anticipated heavyweight clash between Iron Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. and then switch our attention over to a fantastic fight taking place in London also between Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce this weekend. So let's get into it. Firstly, it's hard to know whether to be excited or not about Mike Tyson stepping back in the ring after all these years. Those images of Kevin McBride standing over dejected and thoroughly beaten Mike Tyson back in 2005 still hold weight today. But look, in fairness to Mike, he looks to be in phenomenal shape and really seems to have turned himself around heading into this one. Both fighters will enter the ring without headgear, but will be restricted to 8 2-minute rounds by the commission in a quote-unquote exhibition-style matchup. But both fighters have said in the run-up to this one that it'll be far from an exhibition-type atmosphere in there, and both men will no doubt want to win this fight. With no judges at ringside and a no knockout rule in place, it'll be interesting to see what type of fight takes place on Saturday night, as it's scheduled for 16 minutes in total. Yet if there's a cut or one fighter's in trouble here, the referee will be forced to step in extremely fast, with both fighters north of 50 entering this fight. We have a 4% play up in this Tyson versus Jones matchup that we like a lot. So heading over to WagerTalk for that as we look to move to 13-3 on our boxing selections this year. Turn over to the London card, and this is a real humdinger of a fight for Saturday night as unbeaten Daniel Dubois takes on unbeaten Joe Joyce in an absolutely mouth-watering clash over an ESPN+. And for me, at least, this is all the makings of a classic fight. Daniel Dubois has been highly impressive over his 15 wins to date, 14 of which came via brutal KO. His fifth-round stoppage of Nathan Gorman last year was definitely the highlight of his career so far. But on Saturday night, he'll face the sternest test of his young career to date in the highly capable Joe Joyce. While Joyce is on the surface still a prospect, he's been fast-tracked a lot quicker than Dubois has and already has notable wins against Joe Hanks, Perminster, and Bryant Jennings under his belt. At 35, there's little room for taking it slow here, even as a prospect, and Joyce will no doubt be aware that a loss here might be all but curtains from at this stage of his career. Daniel Dubois is the sizable favourite heading into this one, going off at around a -400 of most books, with Joyce coming back as a +300 underdog. Those odds are somewhat justified in this one, as Dubois no doubt has the better ring movement, the much faster hands and the better coordination in my eyes, and arguably hits harder as well with that tremendous right over the top he likes to throw on opponents. I was on Dubois in the Nathan Gorman fight, but Joyce presents a different type of test for Dubois here. And while Joyce is guilty of slow movement in the ring and being very open defensively, especially up top, he's nonetheless a thinking man's fighter and is excellent at manoeuvring to cut off the ring on opponents. I see Dubois starting very fast in this one, as he looks to take full advantage of the considerable hand speed gap between the pair. And I wouldn't put anyone off taking a slice of the +125 on offer here for a Daniel Dubois stoppage in rounds 1 to 6. As the mixture of Dubois' power combined with Joyce's lax defense could be a game changer in this one. However, I'm going to take an absolute flyer and take Joyce rounds 7 to 12 at +1,000 to wear Dubois down and cause the upset here. While I see Dubois as the much more dynamic of the two early, if Joyce is able to weather that storm and take the air out of Dubois' tires here in the mid to late rounds, he could well walk down and stop Dubois late in this one. Joyce is relentless, and his juggernaut moniker is well earned as he continually pushes forwards on opponents. That type of pressure could wear Dubois down in this one. And if he can't take Joyce out early here, the older man will likely take him to the trenches, and I could see a late stoppage here for Joyce. So in this one, take Joe Joyce around 7 to 12 at a massively priced +1,000 to get the late stoppage on Saturday. That'll wrap things up for this edition of the Boxing Prediction Show. As always, leave us your thoughts, and you can also catch me over on Twitter at the SportsWolf83 and at my handicapper page, Kevin Dolan, over on WagerTalk. As always, thanks for listening. Until next time, slán a bhaile.